Good people, this is my first live on the Legal Crest on YouTube. Just chilling, taking in good scenery and all that. So I'm chilling, y'all. Well, ain't nobody calling me asking for no assistance or nothing like that. This is what I'm doing. Let me see. For those of you who are not up to speed or knowing what's been going on as far as where this whole governmental thing is going is okay. Just a couple of current events. Do a couple of current events. One of the current events is they've done it within the past few years, but a lot of people, surprisingly, aren't aware of the fact that. Let me see. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna leave the comments open, of course. Anybody wants to make a comment or whatever, we can throw it up in there. We'll deal with it. But I'm gonna deal with a couple of current events. To be homeless is illegal. If you haven't known, and surprisingly, I've talked to quite a few people, and they're saying that they didn't know. But anyway, being homeless is illegal. Just to kind of give us a timeline on how they walked us into this. Those who are in the know who know, when that COVID kicked off, that was actually the fourth bankruptcy of the United States. All right. And when they did the fourth bankruptcy, they did a what they call a reorganization. Reorganization essentially is when a company goes pretty much bust, they're bankrupt, and then what they do is they'll do a bankruptcy, and then they'll either sell the company or new management will come in and take over. And when they come in, they will change some policies, most policies, some or very few policies in the old administration or the old regime, and it's called the reorganization. Now, obviously, when they do a reorganization and they're changing the rules and stuff like that, the whole agency, the whole business, company, what have you, that's in bankruptcy will be ran according to those new terms. All right. And I mentioned this on a few videos, and I'm going to mention it again, that when the COVID thing kicked off, if you notice, all the court buildings were closed. Well, they had to keep the hospitals open. Court buildings, there were no police on the roads, and they just shutting everything down, stores, everything. And when you do a reorganization, everybody that's working for the agency, they have to be debriefed when you do a reorganization. And that's what was going on with COVID. That was the fourth bankruptcy of the United States. They were doing a reorganization, so they had to take the police off the streets. They had to shut down the courts. Now, if you read your Constitution, and I hope anybody who's following me, well, not following me, but anybody who's checking on this channel and the information that we like to upload onto this channel, you'll realize that the Constitution is very important for you to study. You have to study it. A lot of things that they took out of the schools. There's a reason for that. They don't do this stuff. You have to realize everything that's going on around you is not happening by accident. There's nothing that's occurring by accident. All right? These people, they don't allow it. They wouldn't do it. All right? Everything has to go according to a specific plan that they have. All right? So now, let's just get back to the COVID situation. And when they took the Constitution out of the school, they took the Bible, which means they took religious beliefs out of school. Why? Once you remove the religious beliefs, regardless to what religion it may be, more than likely it's going to have a moral compass. It's going to have a moral system in place. Things that people have to do in order to maintain their humanity. All right. When they start removing that stuff, then you know that where they're taking you, it's not going to be to your benefit as a human being. All right. So when they took the Bible out of school, you already know that they're leading you somewhere that's going to dismantle you as a human being. All right. So now, once they got that established, what they then have to do is they have to continue to push you in a direction that's going to cause you to be, or what's the word I'm looking? Okay, had this thing this system, and we've been telling people for years about this here. The dollar is going to crash. It's crashing. Okay, the ultimate goal is to make America do what happened to Rome. All right, what happened to Chaldea, what happened to all those so-called great nations. They make them collapse, and then they start a whole new nation. Okay, they're slowly starting to diminish the United States. Go to a dollar store and see if you can buy something for $1 in a dollar store. They literally, it used to be a dollar store, the whole store. Everything was $1 in the store. Now there's a small section, usually on one aisle, where everything is $1. And it's not even both sides, it's usually just one side. All right? So if that doesn't tell you that you need to be, all right? Cash the dollar, homelessness, illegal. All right? They did the COVID situation. They were telling people, hey, listen, you got rent, don't worry about it. The COVID situation is in effect. It was a setup. It was a setup. The COVID situation is so what we're going to do is we're going to allow you people to stay inside your places for free, no rent, da-da-da-da-da. Now, the people being one-minded, right, being one-track minded, what did they do? They went ahead and they was like, I'm going to tell my landlord I don't have to pay the rent because of COVID. No different than Section 8, people. No different than Section 8. The same mentality, larcenistic mentality. This is why we don't like to deal with people like that. All right? Larcenistic mentality. It's only what I want, and it doesn't matter how it affects somebody else. It's only what I want, and it doesn't matter how it affects somebody else. So now, no rent. So now the landlords, they were being patient. They were being very, very patient. And then, what happened? After they passed the law making it illegal to be homeless, all of a sudden, COVID situation, the fears and all the terror, that's what they always do. They always put some fear and terror into the air. Oh, there's been a bombing. Oh, there's been a terrorist attack. Oh, there's been this disease. Oh, it's Black Plague. Strike fear in your heart, get you all scared and riled up, and then they implement whatever it is they want to implement. But see, the thing is, a lot of people, they can't think past their nose. So what happens is, they think that the plan is what's going on right there and now on the spot. That's not how they operate. All right? That's not how they operate. They plan years ahead. They plan years ahead. And what they did was, said, okay, homelessness is illegal. You guys, no rent for COVID. As soon as they got past that, they said, the COVID situation is pretty much done. They're going to keep throwing COVID in the air to scare whoever else can be scared. But then COVID's gone. And now the economy, it's inflation is going up and all this other stuff. Now they gave permission to the landlords to start getting their money again. Landlords want the back pay too. You don't see the setup? Keep in mind, homelessness is illegal. It's illegal. It's against the law to be homeless. So now they're telling the landlords, go get your money. And the landlords, we want the back pay too. For those of you who are barely affording your rent then, I don't really want to fill in the blanks with a lot of people, man. The thing is, if you're not thinking, then you're just not going to think. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now you couldn't afford the rent on its own. Now you got to pay all the back pay. So now you're in major debt. So now they got you on two ways. They got you in debt, and they got you as about to be homeless. So because if you don't pay that rent, you out of here. You homeless. You're now committing a crime. You have to be housed. What's good, Leon? What's going on, Leon? What's going on, brother? Peace. Yeah, man. So now you have to be housed. Where you going to be housed at? Well, let's see. There's a couple of places that they got. They have correctional facilities, which, if you remember, right, during the COVID situation and shortly thereafter, what did they start doing? They started emptying out the prisons. They put the new law in 2019, right before the COVID kicked off. They put in a new law, especially in New York, where they said all nonviolent all nonviolent crimes, they got to start kicking them out. We're only going to keep the violent felons. Only going to keep the violent ones. Why are we only going to keep the violent ones? Because obviously the violent ones are going to cause problems in society, right? Kinda. The thing is, they have a plan. They always have a plan. The thing is, they have to make it look like they're being effective. So somebody has to be the bad guy. So what we'll do, we'll make all the violent felons the bad guy, make it look like, we're doing a great thing for the people, right? How come they never did this before? We're doing a great thing for the people. So what do? We just want them. And everyone else, you can just go ahead. Just, commit as many crimes as you want, as long as it's not violent. So what are they doing? They're releasing criminals back into society to create havoc. Now, they've already done the matter of making everybody homeless, criminals. What's up? Set up for the market. Yeah, exactly. In fact, my boy, what's my man's name? Billy Gates. he just clearly said that he said the smartphones are a thing of the past, and we're making preparations for the next step, which is the next phase of smartphones, which is no phone at all. It's going to be on your wrist. Okay? So, and to kind of give the explanation that he gave as far as how it's supposed to function, I'm about to head back to my car. I do a daily walk. Got to keep that, keep that weight right. Anyway, it's not just about seeking the knowledge of this law. You got to also be healthy. It ain't gonna do you no good if you know this stuff and you're not healthy and you can't even enjoy the benefits of it. So anyway, so what Billy Gates did was he started explaining some of the technology that they're going to use when they implement that. And please like and share, bro. Y'all, like and share. So get this information out. So they're gonna it's nanotechnology that's going to be in the wristband. It's nanotechnology that's going to be inside of the wristband. So essentially, as soon as you put that thing on you, it's going to inject needles. It's like 1,000 microscopic needles that's going to inject nanobots into your body, and that's how everything will be read off of your wrist. They'll be able to tell all of your medical issues, your banking issues, anything pertaining to your life, your whole an entire dossier on you. Anything they want to know about you is going to be off of your wrist. All right? And is that the mark of the beast? No, it's not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast, it will come, and a lot of people are speaking about that. And let me just clarify what it is, okay? Because you have the market, you have the beast spoken of in the Quran, you have the beast spoken of in the Torah, you have the beast spoken of inside the Bible, you have the beast spoken of in multiple different books of Revelation, okay? The beast will come out of the earth and it will put the marks on the people. You will see the beast and you will see the beast putting the marks on the people, okay? Now, what are they doing? What they're doing is they're ushering in a new era of control. They're ushering in the era of the Antichrist. That's what they're doing. They're ushering in the era of the Antichrist. The beast comes after the Antichrist. Okay? Hold on a second. That's how we move. And we low key with it too. Everybody know how I get down. Or you should if you've been around me for a minute. What's good, good people? Welcome. Come on in and get this good information. So the mark of the beast, you have, what they're doing is they're creating a system. They're creating a system for the coming of the imposter Christ or the Antichrist. That's what they're doing. Again, the mark of the beast, that's not going to come until later. That's not going to come until way after the Antichrist is gone. Jesus has already killed the Antichrist. And just so people know, There, you won't be no one, and there will be many people who will try, who will make attempts to kill the Antichrist. They will not be able to. Not a single one of them will be successful. That is the job and responsibility of Jesus. Okay, Esau, if you're Muslim, all right. The responsibility of killing the Antichrist is Jesus's responsibility, his responsibility only. No one else will be able to do it. That is the purpose of him returning. That is the purpose of the Antichrist coming. It's to let people know, okay, because people are like, well, if there's a God, then how could God let babies die? How could God let all this evil occur? Because God, if you look back in history, whenever there was a prophet sent by God that was ruling over the people, it was peace and tranquility on the earth. Okay? But what happened? You always have people that think that they can do better than what God has done. I don't care what name you call him. Jesus, you can call him Allah, you can call him Yahweh, you can call him whatever you want to call him. Okay? You have always had people that felt like they could do it better than God. So what did God say? Okay, no problem. You think you could do it without me? I'm going to show you what a world would be like without me. I'm taking my hands off of this for a little while. Just long enough for you guys to get a taste of it. God is never out of control of the situation. He's always in control of the situation. Okay? He just took his hands off so you can see what the world will be like without him, and why it's smart to follow his revelation. Because in his revelation, he's telling you how to live your life. Like in Islam, he tells you how to use the bathroom, how to wipe your butt. He tells you how to brush your teeth, how to wear your clothes, how to talk to people, how to interact with family, how to interact with your neighbors and people on the day-to-day transactions and in events. Everything is covered. Everything. All right? And if you compare these societies to, like, for an example, you go to an Islamic society. They talk about Muslims are terrorists. Go to a Muslim society and see what the crime is like. Zero. A society that's trying, even though the Muslims got their flaws, they got their shortcomings, trying to follow what God has revealed, and their societies are more peaceful than 99% of the populations on the earth right now. And the only time you hear something about the Muslims is when somebody done went over there and messed with them. You mess with them, they're going to come back. They're going to come back because the Muslims don't fear death. In fact, death is just, I'm going back to my Lord. What am I afraid of death for? And this is a word to the Christians. If you are a Christian, or if you have a faith and you're afraid of death, then your faith is lacking. You heard it here first. Because you haven't heard it somewhere else. You heard it here first. If you are afraid of death and you call yourself a believer and you believe in God, then your faith is lacking. Because when you die, where do you go? You go to meet your Lord. What are you afraid to meet your Lord for? Why would you be afraid to meet your Lord? If you really believe in him and you really believe that he has a reward for you if you obeyed him, why would you be trying to dodge death? You're not supposed to seek it. You're not supposed to go out there and try to get it like you got these people, these suicide bombers. Those Muslims are Muslims that have a very bad understanding of their faith. No different than Timmy McVeigh. No different than your boy, what's the guy's name? Son of Sam guy. David Koresh and all these other individuals who claim to be Christians. They're very bad representation of those faiths. Okay? Suicide bombing is not a part of Islam. Has never been. It's never been sanctioned by any scholar worth his weight in salt. Okay? So, the faith can get hijacked by people who are mentally ill, all right? And it tends to be that those people who are mentally ill who hijack a faith tend to get the most fame, okay? So don't be foolish to think that because these people are doing weird things in the name of a particular faith, that the faith calls. We have to be people of intelligence. We have to be people who think. All right? Stop taking everything on face value. Okay? So now, once they start to round up, and they already started rounding up the poor, right? Because it's illegal to be homeless. And Trump has is shutting down Washington, D.C. People are in a panic about that. Now, let me break that down for you. Okay? First and foremost, Washington, D.C. belongs to England. The United States and Washington, D.C. is not this country. If you've been watching this stuff long enough, you should understand that by now. America and the United States are two different entities. America is the land that you're standing on. United States is the corporation, the company, the corporation that was created by King Henry III. Okay? When he was conquered, when he was beaten on the battlefield in the War of Independence, he came up with another plan, him and his advisors. They said, listen, this is what we'll do. Let us have a small portion of land in your country in America. Let us have a small portion of land in America, not the United States, in America. And should there be any situation where you are attacked by another nation or something to that effect, then by them attacking you, they will be attacking us because we have a base in your country. They have carried on that tradition. United States, what have they done? They put bases in Africa. They put bases in Indonesia. They put bases in almost as many countries as they possibly can. And then from there, they began to, same thing England did to the United States, right? Because they're still running the show, still their plan. They are controlling America by spreading their information across America. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay. The law says, anytime you take a benefit of something, then the one who provided the benefit becomes essentially like a creditor, and you become the debtor. You are liable. You are held subject to the jurisdiction of the one who provided the benefit. They said anything outside of that base, none of our business. Okay? So now what happened was the American people, right? The American people, they said, okay, yeah, we just beat you guys on the battlefield, War of Independence, we won. Okay, yay, celebrate and all that good stuff. We're going to give you guys a 10-mile radius. 10-mile radius. That 10-mile radius is Washington, D.C. Okay? Washington, D.C. is not America. Okay? Washington, District of Columbia, District of Columbia. Is there any state named Columbia in America? So, Washington, District of Columbia is, now it's a 10-block radius, right? 10-mile radius, 10 blocks radius, okay? Trump said, I'm going to put the National Guard in there. Okay? I'm going to put the National Guard in there. We're going to clean up these streets. We're going to lock up these illegals. And we're going to lock up these homeless people. Okay? Now, he can do that. Why? Or how? Very simple. A president is the head of a company, a corporation. United States is a company. It's a corporation. Washington, D.C. is that corporation's headquarters. That 10-mile radius, those 10 blocks squared, is that corporation's headquarters. Okay? So, can Trump do that? Absolutely. He's the president of Washington, D.C. That's why he's doing it in Washington, D.C. He's not doing it in New York. He's not doing it in North Carolina, South Carolina. He's not doing it in Florida. He's doing it in Washington, D.C. Why? Because he is the president of that company, of that corporation. He has all the authority. He has what they call, what is the word? Plenary power. He has plenary power in Washington, D.C. And no one can tell him anything other than that. Now, when he was talking about becoming or eradicating the Constitution, now, or getting around the Constitution, not eradicating, because they're already working on getting rid of the Constitution. Working on getting around the Constitution where there won't be another election. I gotta roll. Come on with me. All right. So what he did was he's getting around the Constitution for Washington D.C. He's literally officially, openly, candidly separating Washington D.C. from America. He's making it very clear that Washington, D.C. and America are two different entities. America will be left on its own. Okay? America will be left on its own. Now, let me break it down for you. Does America have a military? America doesn't have a military. America is under the Constitution. The Constitution says that you can have a well-organized militia to defend the land. Okay. Does America have a department? America doesn't have the Department of Defense. Who does? United States does. United States has a Department of Defense, which Trump just changed back to the original name for it, which is the Cabinet of War, or the Department of War. That was the original name. He just changed it back. All right. Trump is separating the United States from America. Okay. Now, check out the wisdom behind that, people. This is very important. It's very important. Pay attention to the wisdom behind that. Why is he separating the two? He's separating the two because the United States has all of the assets. The United States has the defense, has the military. The United States, the corporation. All this stuff was created under the United States. It wasn't created under America. I hope it's real. I hope it's making sense to you now. England and that other nation, the J-Boys, those J-Boys, the J-Boys bought America, just like they bought England. So they were already behind the scenes making power moves, okay? So now what they're doing is, right, they're going to leave America to self-destruct. Because America doesn't have any military. It doesn't have any means, no way to defend itself. Okay? So, Washington, D.C. is going to be a country in and of itself. And it has all of the military. It has all of the nukes. It has all the... Because this system, the money, the paper money that everybody's using right now, that is Federal Reserve notes. Federal Reserve belongs to the World Bank. The World Bank controls Washington, D.C. So when they take their money back, America doesn't have any money anymore. What was America's money? The greenbacks. What was America's money? Gold and silver. When they tricked the people into giving up their gold and silver, they took America's money. When they got people to stop using the gold certificate and silver certificate dollar bills, just Google it. Just go ahead and Google it. Gold certificate, silver certificate, dollar bills. They had they had either red or blue writing on it. You know what I'm saying? The typeset was in blue or it was in red. Those were the gold and silver certificates. The gold certificates were in red and the silver certificates were in blue. All right? And you can just Google that right now and you'll see the dollar bills that used to be gold and silver certificates and used to say it on them. You were able to redeem those gold and silver certificates for gold and silver that you put into banks. But now, what they did was, they've totally eradicated the gold and silver certificates. If you find them, you got, it's so far, it's hard. You're hard pressed to find them things. Okay? All right. So now, you don't have an instrument to redeem anything back in gold and silver. And if you don't have any gold and silver, then you are going to be out there. Because make America great again means bring America back to the way it was back in the old West. Okay? He wasn't talking about making America great like America is going to be the most dominant. No, make America great again like you guys go back to the beginning. You think that you built this. No, the United States built this. You didn't build this. United States built this. The corporation, the capitalistic society built this. And this is all on top of America. What we're going to do is we're going to take our ball. This is what the United States is saying. The company, the corporation, President Trump as their quote unquote king or representative of the king of England. What they're saying is we're taking our ball and we're going home. You don't like the system that we created for you, America? You don't like what we did for you guys? No problem. We're going to take our ball and we're going home. Trump, I'm going to take the military that was created for and by the United States, and we're going to bring them back to back to Washington D.C., which is the capital of the United States, not America, of the United States. All right, we're going to bring them back there, and the rest of our soldiers, people who don't understand the difference between being an employee of the United States, operating in their army, or being an American citizen and defending America, the land that you're standing on. They're going to be very, 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 very confused. That's why that sergeant, those two military officers, got arrested for speaking against the Jew boys, or rather the J boys. They are United States property. Once you go and read the contract, go ahead and read it. That's why they swear an oath. All right, because literally what you're doing is you're forsaking your American citizenship. Go read Title 22, 583, subsection 611 through 615. Foreign agent registration statement. Foreign agent registration statement. All military, all police officers, all judges, all attorneys, they all have to swear that they're foreign agents. When you take that job, that's why you have to swear that oath, because you are a foreign agent, and it clearly says that you have forfeited your American citizenship once you've taken one of those jobs. You forfeited your American citizenship if you've taken one of those jobs. So again, if you're military, you have forfeited your American citizenship. You are a United States citizen. Or rather, property, as the Supreme Court says, Willing Steel Corporation versus Fox, plus 30 other Supreme Court cases where the judges said the same thing. Anyone who claims to be a United States citizen, is chattel property. Your property. You sold yourself into slavery by taking one of those jobs and swearing that oath. You made yourself into their property. That's why you're swearing that oath. All right, it's not just showing allegiance to something. You're to uphold and defend the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic. I'm sorry, not the United States, the Constitution. Swear to defend, uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign or domestic. It was an agreement. It was a contract. And I'm about to go in here. We got, I'm Muslim. We got to go make this prayer. But anyway, let me just drop this information real quick. So when you take that oath as a police officer, as an attorney, as a military personnel, you have forfeited your American citizenship, and you are now chattel property of the United States. Okay? Trump is saying all of our properties, we want you back to Washington, D.C., and or we're going to deploy you wherever we want to deploy you. So we might want to send you over to the J-Boys country. All right? Might want to send you over to the J-Boys country, and you can fight for them. And they've already started doing that, have they not? Have they not? Absolutely. Absolutely. And people, how could you make Americans? No, you're not American. You're a United States citizen. You're not American, buddy. You're not even a citizen. You're property, United States property. That's how they can send you over there. When you sign that contract, you was going to get easy, quick money for your college, for your little, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, that you went into the military for. You know what I'm saying? They had another plan for you. Surprise! Yes! They had another plan for you. Now you're over there. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You're over there. They could put you wherever they want to put you. They could make you do whatever they want you to do. When you get in the military and you go through basic training, what do they tell you? You are property now. They mean that. What do you think? They're joking? They're not joking. They're deadly serious. They're dead serious. You're the one joking. You're the one think this is a light matter. You think this is some kind of a game. It's not a game. They're deadly serious. They are deadly serious. When they tell you, just like when they tell you, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. But we don't believe them. We don't believe them. No, they said that, but they don't really mean that. Nah, they don't really mean it. Until you stand in front of a judge and they start calling out everything that you said. They pull out the transcripts. They show the video where you were in the backseat of the car just running your mouth, where you were in the precinct just running your mouth, giving them all the evidence that they need. They told you what you say and what you do shall be held against you in the court of law. They meant it. When you signed that contract as a police officer or the military, they told you their property. They mean that. You don't believe it, you're a fool. It's on you, buddy. All right? So now, they can send you whatever they want to send you. They can make you fight for any country they want you to fight for. Why? Because any country that's utilizing the International Monetary Fund or the Federal Reserve or the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank's money, right? If the World Bank is making their money, that country is owned. Okay? That country is owned. The United States is no different. The World Bank makes the United States money. We're using Federal Reserve notes. Federal is not a part of America. The word federal has nothing to do with America, people. Just so you know, for those of you who don't. It's not. It has nothing to do with America. Okay? Federal is connected to, it is owned and controlled by the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, which is the World Bank, which is the same place. Federal Reserve, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, all the same entity, all the same in one building. Okay? So now, if you are using their money in your country for business and transactions, you got their paper dollars in your hands and you're doing all these transactions, that country that's using that money, that is the World Bank's intellectual property. For those of you who be studying business and all that other good stuff, right? Right? If you got your EINs and all that, you got your copyrights and your trademarks, you trademarked your name or copyrighted your name, then you know about intellectual property. You should. Okay, well, you're running around with somebody's intellectual property in your pocket. Now, if your country says, hey, International Bank, right, World Bank, we want to utilize your intellectual properties, all right? The World Bank says, okay, no problem. Yeah, you definitely could use our stuff. Okay, but we're gonna charge you interest on the usage of it, and then there's going to be some rules that we're going to give you that you have to keep in line with while you're utilizing our monies. And the government says, okay, we'll do that. And they say, okay, one of the things is that your military is under our control. All right, but it's not directly under our control. We don't want direct control over it. They'll be under you, but we'll be telling you what we want and what we don't want. As long as you got our intellectual property, you're utilizing our intellectual property. Oh, you don't want to do what we say to do? Okay, no problem. We'll devalue the intellectual property that we gave you, those paper dollars. Yeah, we're going to devalue it. We're going to make it worthless. They did it. Venezuela, they did it with all countries in Africa, basically. That's why Africa's flipping the way that they're flipping and saying, no, we're going to rely on our own resources, our own natural resources. Right? We're going to create our own money. We're going to make our own money, and we're going to back it by our own natural resources. And this is why they're so upset with Africa right now, because they're saying, we don't need you, World Bank. You will not be telling us what to do anymore. You will not keep us in poverty as long as we're utilizing your money. We'll make our own money, and then we'll run our country according to that, to how we see fit for our people. That's what the deal is, people. That's what the deal is. Okay, they did it with Venezuela. They did it with what is it? Cuba. Any country that they didn't like, they devalued their money until they were coming to the stores with wheelbarrows of money just to get a loaf of bread. Look at America. Listen. When I was a kid, I remember you go to the store with a quarter. With a quarter, you coming up out of there with a loaf of bread. You coming out of there with something to drink, probably some cold cuts and stuff like that. $1 or something like that. You come out the store with a whole bunch of stuff. Now you can't even buy anything for $1. What is it telling you? It's telling you the value is going. Wake the hell up. Wake up, people. Like, for real, wake up. and see what the hell's going on. The dollar store isn't even a dollar store anymore, people. Or you can just stay asleep and wait for the hammer to come down. Because I'm telling you what's coming. You don't want to be a part of that. And going back to the beast. Well, let's deal with the Antichrist first. All the books of Revelation said, when he comes, you better get out of them cities. You better get out of them cities. You better go somewhere rural. Become one with nature again. Well, that's pretty much what Trump is doing. He's putting all the technology, all the power and strength of that the United States created. He's putting it in Washington D.C. And America, you Americans, you want to be Americans? No problem. Be Americans all you want. We're taking all the technology with us because we created all the technology under the United States. We didn't create it under America. So we're taking all the technology with us. And you guys can live out there, and what does it say in the book of Revelation? Anyone who does not accept that system, they will be living in a life of great difficulty. That's what they're doing. Taking back everything that they created. And they're saying, okay, well, you guys don't like our system. You're bucking our courts, right? You sovereigns, you're bucking our courts. So now this is what we're going to do. Okay, if you want to still use our system, you're gonna play by these new rules that we got going on now. We're going all digital. No more paper money now. Forget that. We're going digital. So now we can track and see every single penny that you spend. We see everything that you're doing, especially when you get those bracelets in place of your phones, your smartphones. We're going to be able to check everything that you're doing. Look at the book of Revelation. Revelation 13 clearly tells you. No secret. And if you're Muslim, there's plenty of hadith where the Prophet is talking about that. He said that the Dajjal, he will have knowledge of everything that's going on in the marketplace. Everything. All right? That's where they're bringing you. The mark of the beast will come later. When the mark of the beast, the purpose of the mark of the beast, all right, is not to control people's lives. The purpose of the mark, the mark that the beast is putting on the people, is going to put on the people, is the mark to identify who truly believes in God and who disbelieves in God. And it will be made clear to everybody who actually are the believers and who are the non-believers. That is what the mark of the beast is. These numbers and all this other stuff, don't get caught up in that. The beast comes after the Antichrist. Okay? We got to get to the Antichrist first. All right? And in my opinion, we're right at the threshold of it. Can I give you a date? Nope. I don't think anybody can give you a date. But I can tell you that the vast majority of those signs are already in place. And we're literally, I'm talking about we got probably our big toe inside of the door. Our big toe is already inside the door. It's just literally, we're just waiting for one major event. And that is those billows of smoke. Those billows of smoke. Because the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said, when you see those billows of smoke and the pillars of fire, billows of smoke, pillars of fire, right? He said, put your food, he said, get you some food that would feed you for a year. Get you some food that will feed you for a year. In another narration, grab you some sheep and goats and go into the mountains. All right? He mentioned inside the Quran, it mentions that it says, prepare for a day when you will see smoke clear for all to see. He said a flash of fire. That's what he said. It's in the Quran. It's for those of you who have access to the Quran, you go to Surah Rahman. All right? I believe it's Surah 33. Okay? Surah Rahman. And clearly says it. It says, prepare for a day when there's a flash of fire and then it's smoke clear to see, for all to see. That means world war. That means nuclear bombs going off all over the place. This is 1,500 years ago that this thing was revealed. It's in the Quran. Go take a look. It's right there. All right? So anyway, when that happens, the nuclear, obviously you're going to have a nuclear explosion. When you have the nuclear explosion, you're going to have fallout. Okay? Now, before the fallout, there's going to be massive bombs going all over because Russia, heard about dead hand. Russia's dead hand. If you, and I gotta go. They're about to make the prayer. I gotta go. But anyway, If the bombs go off, first and foremost, the prophet said there will be birds that will try to fly over the battlefield and they will die before they reach the other side. Okay. The other thing is he mentioned that the fire and the pillars of smoke and the pillars of flames, which was nuclear bombs, obviously. Okay. Now when the bombs go off, what's going to happen? You're going to have plumes of smoke from those bombs. It's going to go into the atmosphere. It's going to cover the atmosphere. Everybody's going to see the smoke because it's going to be all over the atmosphere. Bombs going all over the planet. Russia has what's called a dead hand. If there's any nuclear bombs that hit Russia, the computer in Russia is going to try to contact any of the cabinet members. If none of the cabinet members respond back, the dead hand automatically activates and it shoots off every single nuclear bomb that Russia has and just releases it onto the earth. It's called a dead hand. Go look it up, Google it. Nobody's making anything up. They've had it for years. Okay? So, those bombs go off, you already know what's going to happen to the earth. Explosions everywhere, bombs, nuclear bombs, just bomb after bomb. Okay? Everybody's going to see the fire, everybody's going to see the smoke. All right? When the fire dies down, the smoke is going to engulf the entire earth. There's bombs hitting everywhere in the earth. It's going to be smoke all over the earth. It's going to block out the sun. Then you're going to have nuclear fallout along with a nuclear winter. Nuclear winter, and this is not fear-mongering, people. I'm just telling you how it happens. Okay? This is just facts. No fear-mongering. I'm just telling you the facts. Okay? Don't want nobody to be afraid. I want you to be prepared. Don't be afraid. Be prepared. Clouds go over, blocks the sun out, nuclear winter. Earth is going to get very, very cold because no sunlight is coming in. It's being blocked out by that nuclear smoke. Okay? So you need to be prepared for that. This is why the prophet said, gather up about a year's worth. He said, when you see the pillars of smoke and the pillars of fire, he said, gather up about 1 year's worth of food. Okay? Gather up about 1 year's worth of food. That's a per individual. Okay? Because it's gonna be a while before the nuclear fallout is done and the radiation, subsides. It's gonna be a while. Just if you want to know how it works, just do some history on Japan after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay? And see how long it took for them to get themselves back together. All right? So that's all I got for now, people. I appreciate you tuning in. I got to go make this prayer. It's that time. All right? So peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum to the Muslims. Islam to the Moors. Shalom to the Hebrews. Hotep to the Egyptologists. Namaste to the Hindus. And peace be upon you to the Christians. And good morning to those who are just waking up to this knowledge. Good morning. You're welcome. If I can stop this thing.